Hello everyone, I welcome you all to EduTap, and in this success story series we have today another topper with us, Mr. Deepak Sheoran, and he has recently cleared NABARD Grade A 2022 examination and soon to join as a NABARD Grade A officer. So sir, I welcome you on EduTap and heartiest congratulations on cracking such a big examination.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Right. So, sir, I'm sure aspirants they would be very excited to know about your struggles and the strategy that you followed. But before starting to it, we the aspirant must want to know about your background, your educational background. What you do, and when did you finally decide कि नहीं अब तो नाबार्ड करना है and you have to you started working on that.
So my background is I'm basically from defense background. My father is in Indian Air Force currently serving. I have completed my graduation in 2016. I've done bachelor's in engineering in information technology. So after that, I decided that I would like to pursue a different field rather than going for information technology or IT field. I decided that I would like to uh, join either banking sector or some other maybe civil services. I have also tried my hand at civil services as well. But then in 2018, I joined Bank of India as clerk. Then I have joined Bank of India as probationary officer in 2019, and I have been working as assistant manager since around 3.5 years. So initially, after graduation in 2016, I decided that I'll go for SBPO or IBPSPO exams. So I know back of the mind that I would like to try regulatory body exams like RBI, SEBI, or NABARD.
Hmm.
So that was back of the mind. But initially, my main aim was to get a job first. Then serious preparation started from 2019 itself. In 2019, I gave exam for all these exams like SEBI, NABARD, and my major breakthrough came last year. Although I couldn't clear, but I was able to clear prelims exam, and because of some reason, I couldn't clear mains. And this year, I managed to clear all the three
Right.
sections.
Right, right. So, sir, as you said that your initial aim after you have done graduation was to have a job and to have a security, financial
Yes,
security in life, and that is really good. But, sir, because the if you look at the pattern and syllabus of the regulatory bodies and as IBPS examination or other banking examination, only the quant reasoning English section is the one which is quite
yes.
major. And if we compare them with the NABARD examination, I am sure most of the aspirants they could relate to this who are watching it right now. So, sir, quant reasoning English, it is just a sectional. These are just the non-merit section in NABARD examination. So, sir, that is we can say that in a way that was not a major advantage as having a banking background because it was
Yes.
just qualifying. So, sir, with your job and that too of a banking job which is quite hectic, so how did you sir manage to cover a fully new syllabus and a pattern for examination such as NAB or such as that of NABARD?
Ma'am, the main thing is that, uh, as you rightly said, the only advantage which I get in prelims is that of the only qualifying sections like
Right.
reasoning, quant, English, and GK. So the main thing was to prepare for ESI and ARD section.
Hmm.
And as I was preparing for 2 3 years for NABARD exam, I graduated because I am from engineering background. It People from my engineering background could relate to it that to cover ARD is very difficult. Agriculture section it really creates problem for people. So I
Right.
actually followed EduTap's course. I have basically completed all the modules. Then I started preparing and creating notes or making notes from those particular modules.
Hmm.
And I think EduTap has their summary sheets
Right.
with regard to
Right.
ASI as well. So that's at the exam time. I have basically focused on those summary sheets.
All right. So this was so you want to say that before notification you had made a base for ESI and ARD, so that
Yes, ma'am.
after that you can just directly you can revise during the phase 1 and
Yes,
phase 2, and that's a really good strategy, because at that time your focus should be on revision. If you'll
yes,
start opening your books at that time, it would be quite tedious task to do. So sir, we'll talk about then all the phases one by one. We'll start with phase 1, in which we have 8 subjects divided into non-merit and merit. In
married.
non-merit, we have quant reasoning English, we have decision making and computer knowledge. So,
Yes,
sir, I'm just assuming that for quant reasoning English, you just did mock test, or did
yes,
you
ma'am.
specifically did some chapters, or if you could
Nothing,
share,
ma'am.
or if you could
No.
just remember or share that which chapters can be important if you're appearing for NABARD. So, is there some sorts of chapter, or basic arithmetic will do it?
And basic arithmetic would do because around 6 to 8 is, I think, the qualifying marks for quant. So
Right.
any basic understanding would do for reasoning, English, as well as quant. I think mock would be fine. If you do mocks, then there would be no problem with regard to qualifying those sections.
Right.
So
And sorry, sir.
the
Please
major
continue.
focus should be on the merit section. It
Right.
is of 100 marks. If we talk about the cutoff for the last year or this year,
Hmm.
I think as compared to last year, the paper was tough this time.
Yes.
So cutoff almost dragged down to around 10 marks. So the around 40 is of ESI, 40 is of AID, and 20 for GK section. So my major focus was on getting marks of around 25 in those sections and around 10 marks in the GK section.
All
So
right.
around 60 marks is fine. You would be
Hmm.
feel okay. I would be able to clear that.
Right. So, sir, now if we talk about for ESI and ARD, as you have said that you have prepared, you have studied the modules of EduTap, and you have then relied on the summary sheet. But then, sir, if we talk about the current affairs section of it, so what were were there some different sources, or what do you suggest that if somebody wants to prepare for ESI current affair, what topics that the person need to touch on?
Yeah, ma'am, that's very important because we need not to prepare everything and anything under the sun. So
True.
the major focus should be on the government schemes, NABARD relevant schemes, and we need to find out what is important as far as this. And for that, the most important thing is to go through the previous year question papers.
True.
I think on the NABARD website or their courses, they have made available uh, papers from 2016 to 2021. If anyone goes through that, then they would be able to find a pattern. Okay, this type of questions are asked in ESI and ARD. And on the same lines, anyone can prepare. So that was my strategy as far as uh, prelims was concerned.
Right. So basically, for current affairs, what Sir has done, he has first analyzed pre-YQs thoroughly, because see, current affair is so vast. So you should better understand what is the need of the examination. So it's not a UPSC examination or something where you have to read everything. There is a pattern, set pattern, and one more thing which Sir has rightly said, that he has decided that he has to score minimum around this much marks. He did not focus on scoring 100 on 100. It was just about getting through the prelim, because it is nowhere anyway going to add into the final merit list. Sir analyzed pre-YQs, whatever type of questions were there. He just studied for that, and he says that government schemes are very important. You should focus on that. So here, one more thing I want to ask is NABARD. It asks a lot of data in its examination. So, what was your strategy? Did you kept on revising, or how did you retain so much data?
Yes, ma'am. So NABARD do ask lots of data question. If we talk about this year's question paper, so in the prelims itself, it was very tough. There were lots of questions which were with respect to data. Like questions were from agriculture and rural economy, like data from uh, Ministry of Agriculture reports, Ministry of Rural Development reports, and lots of other reports which are relevant for NABARD. So questions were there. So the important part uh, to do in this particular type of question is to basically go first read the reports and then try to find out what are the important uh, bullet points, what are the important data points we need to note down. My main strategy was to note down those points.
Hmm.
I used to make notes in my laptop.
Okay.
So, for example, I'm reading a report. For example, there is a report come agriculture census. There is a report on agriculture census.
Hmm.
So I would note down important points. Okay, these are the number of buffaloes, this is the number of total livestock in the country. So this type of facts you need to write down. Or if we do mocks, then we would be able to identify, okay, this fact is not relevant, then we need not to revise. So mocks would
Right.
help me or any other aspirant to basically clarify, okay, what we need to retain and what we need to forget. So
Right.
that's more important.
Right. There's a important key takeaway that Sir has said. Whenever he used to prepare any report, he made his own notes, but he used to read it and then give mock test as well, because from mock test we will understand, okay, this data whichever was important वो रिवाइज हो जाता है आपका मॉक टेस्ट करते करते, और अगर कोई डेटा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है वो मॉक टेस्ट में भी आपको नहीं मिलेगा, एंड यू कुड अंडरस्टैंड, ओके, दिस इज नॉट सच रेलेवेंट डेटा, you can skip that. So sir, that's a very good strategy that you have followed for ESI. And for sir general awareness, that is 20 marks section that comes. So for that also, were there some important sections that you do, or you just or especially of how months current affairs have you done for that particular section?
I basically followed for around 4 months. Anyone
Okay.
can take either EduTap's 4 month current affairs. There are other materials are also
Right.
available. So 4 months would do. If anyone prepare 4 months, that would be more than sufficient to get 10 marks out of 20. And I think 10 marks are more than sufficient to get the
Right.
cut the clear off.
Right. So for phase one, if we talk about all in all your strategy, you did a lot of mock test to give you a proper revision, and for 4 months you say that this is the adequate time period for you to get enough marks to qualify for phase one. So that was for phase one, and now let's come to phase two section, which is very important. And as you said that last year you could clear the prelim, but in mains for due to some reason you could not do that. So, sir, what was the learning that you had in the journey? That where did you, did not work on last time before, or you had improved this time?
Ma'am, the last year I think I was not been able to get good marks in descriptive. I got
Okay,
from out of 50, I got around 20 to 23 marks.
all
So
right,
I missed the final cutoff for the interview for around by 10 marks. So
okay.
this time I improved on my descriptive part.
Right. So those who are watching it for the very first time, phase one, we have already understood what are the criteria. In phase two, we have descriptive writing as well as objective. We have two paper. One is paper one, that is of English, and second is paper two, that constitute of ESI and ARD. Both objective, that are your MCQs question, and descriptive, where you have to frame the answers in a defined limited number of words. So, sir, we'll first talk about paper one, that is of English, where we have to write essay, précis, we have sometime comprehension, sometime it's letter. So, sir, what do you suggest to the aspirants that what can be the right approach to follow for paper one of phase two?
Ma'am, as far as English for phase two is concerned, uh, most of the students who have cleared mains are able to get average marks. Around 60 is the barrier. 60
Okay.
plus minus 5 is people are getting. I have given around 3 4 mains, two for Reserve Bank, two for NABARD, and one for SEBI. So all the time I was getting around 55 to 60. I mean, I was on the average marks. So this
Right.
time I improved. So what I could deduce from a strategy is that yes, essay is the part where a person can take advantage of 5 to 10 marks,
Okay.
because in essay or see everyone would get average marks. So essay is the deciding part because it is of 40 marks, and someone who writes a good essay would be able to fetch around 30 33 marks. And if you write a average essay, you would get 20 25 marks. So I think that could be a turning point if
Hmm.
someone focus on essay preparation.
Right. So, basically, one more key takeaway for all the aspirants, that you can get average, on an average all the students get more or less same marks only, but if you want to be in the final merit list you have to focus on something. And sir says if for phase one you want to be a little bit different from the rest of the aspirants, you can focus on essay, where you can get 5 to 10 extra marks if you make it more interesting. And so when you say that you should focus on essay more, so do you mean adding more datas or making a flow, or what sort of things can be included in a essay?
The thing is, this time the word limit has been decreased by NABARD. So around, they have reduced it to around 400 or 300 words. So basically, there is not so many words to write so much data. So it's all about structuring your essay, how you're making it interesting, how you're starting, what is the content of your body, how you're concluding. So
Mm.
that's what it matters, whether you are using any quote, with how
Right.
you're finishing your essay.
Right. And so could you please share with the aspirant what kind of questions can be expected in an English essay?
Ma'am, these the questions are I think of two types. This one is with respect to general questions like
Okay.
hobbies, etc. And second is with respect to ARD questions related to agriculture or farmer as related questions. Or they might ask related to finance as well. So these are the relevant topics.
Right. Something that is related to economic
I,
and social issues and ARD
I
only.
think one should prepare around 10 to 15 probable essays if we want to get advantage. Like if someone is preparing 20 essays, 20 different topics, then I think you would be able to write a good essay.
Right. Because they can link somewhere.
Like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so for linking, you should prepare, as sir is suggesting for all to all the aspirants, you should be preparing at least 15-20 minimum topics if you want to frame a good essay in examination. So sir, this was for paper 1 of phase 2, but sir, if you talk about paper 2, that is of ESI and ARD combined. So in that you said that you felt like last year maybe you got an average mark and that is why you focused on that. So sir, what was the change in the strategy? Did you attempted more questions or did you change the way you used to write questions?
Ma'am, this time I have actually changed my strategy. Last year, I was not been able to make it to interview because of my ESI marks. They were very
Okay.
low, around 10 to 15 marks. I was short on that front. So
Hmm.
this time, I think marks, all the marks are not out. I'm this time confident that I would have definitely gotten around 70 marks, which is I think more than the average mark this time. So this time, my main focus was on getting good marks in descriptive.
Hmm.
Last year, RBI's Grade B exam, I prepared thoroughly for the descriptive part. And on in that exam also, I was getting around 34, 35, 36 marks. So I have actually improved on that part at that time only. So that's why I would be able to get good mark this time uh, in NABARD.
Right.
So my main strategy was basically again same probability questions you need to prepare for ESI as well as I think EduTap also come up with their descriptive
Right.
sheets as well.
Right.
So on each and every topic, there are 2, 3 probable questions there. If we prepare 2, 3 probable question on each topic, then I think we would be more than enough content with us to write a good descriptive answer.
Right. So again, if you want to be good in phase 2, the basic strategy what Deepak sir has followed and is asking for you all that you can also think on this particular strategy is to be well prepared of all the probable topics that can be asked in examination and prepare well hand. And here's one more thing that is very interesting because see if you work on the probable topics, you'll search the data points and all the facts regarding to the particular certain topics. So if in examination one certain question if comes, then you are pretty much well aware with the data, because if any random topic comes you may not recall the data instantly because you have not prepared for it even though you have read it somewhere. So it is very important to have proper list and then working on that topic. So on that note, I also want to ask about if we talk about objective section of paper 2, sir, what is the importance of current affairs in it, or is it all static or current affairs are also asked?
Ma'am, this time it was more oriented towards static part.
Okay.
So it's not necessary that the next year it might current may be more or maybe
Hmm.
static might increase. So I think no one should prepare on those lines whether static would be more. I think anyone should prepare thoroughly whether
Right.
it's static or current part.
Right. Sir, this time it happened in paper 2, question was on Matsya Sampada Yojana. So a whole
Yeah.
question was on scheme. So, sir, what was your reaction on that? So was it in your favor or you felt like you
Yes, ma'am.
have a certain
I
idea?
think yes, ma'am. It was in my favor. Actually, I have prepared EduTap's government scheme PDF. So
Right.
all the relevant schemes are there. I think for NABARD, one thing a candidate should do is he should thoroughly prepare all the schemes of Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and agriculture and farmers welfare and Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. And
Rural
I think
development.
definitely one question would definitely be each year from those particular ministries.
Right, right, right.
So
Because and there's also key takeaway that students they do study government schemes, but if asked about describing the scheme just like came in NABARD, they may not be able to write 400 600 words on it. They may recall the data, but if it is present in objective form. So sir, for that did you used to write the government schemes, or you just kept on revising all these
no,
schemes?
no, I did not write any data, any notes, but I kept on revising. Okay, first time I read it, okay. Second time, okay, these are the important points. Next time I would revise only those points only. Third
Okay.
time I would revise. That was my strategy as far as revision is concerned with respect to government schemes.
Right, right. So, sir, that was for paper two. And here also one more query that most of the aspirant they have. Do we really need to follow the word limits? As we know, because for 10 marks question, it is 400 words. That is the word limit assigned by the organization. And for 15 marks, it is 600. So, sir, did you
600.
follow that, or do you think that you wrote less words and still you made through? Or what's
Yes,
your
so
take on it?
although it's very difficult to write 2000 words in those 90 minutes, but I think as far as I recall, I was able to write around 800 words.
Okay.
So for 600 words question, I was able to write more than 500, and
Hmm.
for 400 words question, I was able to write around 350 words. I
Right.
think one should write at least 500 and 300 should be the target.
Right.
So that should
Because
much
that would be
what
near to what they have
yes
asked
ma'am.
for. Right. Right. So, sir, this was for paper two, and now, sir, let's talk about interview. And, sir, as you have said that previously you have also attended interviews in
Yes,
for
ma'am.
various organization. Sir, how is could you please share how is NABARD interview different from the rest, or is it same as all the interviews only?
Ma'am, almost all the interviews are on the same lines, whether it's for Reserve Bank, whether it's for SEBI, whether it's for NABARD. And
Right.
the thinking, it's not about the questions, it's not about the preparation, it's all about the types of question that would be relevant to your profile.
Right.
And one should focus on the profile itself. Like I was from the banking sector, I
Hmm.
was more focused on what was my working profile. I should be thoroughly prepared on it,
Hmm.
and then some current affairs would also do. Then the two main questions then any candidate should focus on interview is very important, like why you want to join in that particular organization.
Hmm.
I think that is a make or break question for me. If you are not able to satisfactorily give answer to that question, then it would definitely create problem in interview phase. And the second question I think should be with regard to the organizational setup. You need to read its website or uh, uh, balance sheet, or you can say annual report. That is very important. If anyone is preparing for any exam, website should be thoroughly prepared and their annual report.
Right. So, sir, two things that you have mentioned that whatever work profile do you have, you should be thorough with it, and if you should also be thorough with what organization is doing. So, for that, you can refer to the website as well as the annual report. And so, are there all any some in general questions about hobbies and such questions are there also asked in the examination,
Yes,
in
ma'am.
interview?
But actually, the thing is, the interview basically is of around 15 to 20 minutes. So interview board do not have much time to basically ask. Although if someone having a different unique hobby, they might ask. But you are writing any general hobby, then they might not ask.
Okay, okay. So if there's some general hobby, for example, if somebody is saying reading, somebody has written reading,
Mhm.
dancing, so
Singing.
maybe they can ask, maybe they not. But if something
Yeah.
very different, so they might want to ask about it, right? So, sir, this was about your interview as well. And so one more question that most aspirants they dread that what if they're not able to answer any question in the interview? So did that happen with you, or what's your take on that?
Ma'am, I think it's more about how you're presenting. Although I made the same mistake in the previous interviews as well, that basically candidate focus that do not want to get any question wrong. If you're
Hmm.
not getting, rather than blabbering anything, rather than not answering to the point, like not being able to satisfactorily, it's better to not answer that question.
Hmm.
That would be fine.
Right.
But
Great.
general questions should not be missed, like profile rated questions, like uh, uh, questions with respect to the profile or biodata. That uh,
Hmm.
should not be go unanswered.
Right, because that is going to give a wrong impression that you
Wrong
have not
impression. Right.
prepared well. So, what
Yes.
sir, and it is a very important point for all the aspirants. What sir has just said, that it is no problem if you don't know any answer. It's fine, but you should be prepared with the in general questions that are associated with you, with your work profile. Because if you don't know about your background, then it will not give a good impression to them. Right. So that's very important. And sir, uh, one more thing, sir. How was the interview panel with you? Was it cordial or were they grilling you? Because aspirants, they dread that. And how would you suggest them? How can they manage it? Because you have given so many interviews, so you must be having different experience. Sometimes you may have felt it is cordial, or sometimes you may have felt it was quite tough. Sir, please enlighten us on that.
Ma'am, it depends on interview to interview. This time it was cordial.
Okay.
Uh, Board was smiling. They were not even interrupting in between much.
Hmm.
So whatever I was saying, they were accepting it. Okay, they were having a poker face. I was not been able to judge whether my interview was good or not.
Okay.
When the marks comes out, I would be able to know how I fared in that.
True. So in some, sir, in some other interviews, did that happen? That
Yes, ma'am, it did happen. Uh, People were basically grilled on their choices. If someone has resigned from an organization, if
Okay.
someone is having a gap, if he's not been able to justify, then there would be some grilling. So that part should be thoroughly prepared for someone who has a gap years or who has resigned from a current organization,
Hmm.
specifically for preparing for these examinations. So
Right.
such type of questions might create problem.
Right. And if they want to switch the job profile also, these are the
Yes,
type
ma'am.
of question that can be
Yes,
expected.
yes.
Right. So, sir, you have beautifully enlightened with your journey to the aspirants how they should prepare for NABARD. So, sir, with that, we have come to the end of the session. And, sir, I would like you to, if you want, you can say something to the aspirants who are preparing for such a prestigious organization and are still in their journey.
One message I would like to give to the candidates is that this exam basically the vacancies are very less, and I think I want I do not know anyone who was specifically prepared without any backup for this exam. First of all, you need to have a backup. For example, you are in initial stages like early around 25 years, then you should start for the PO exams. If you are directly jumping, then the vacancies are very less. Even after full preparation, it might be possible that you won't be able to get your dream job.
Right.
So backup, I think backup should be there for.
Right, right. So, sir basically wants to say to you all that you should have backup in the sense that you should prepare for, or you can give such examination which are more or less similar in pattern. That will give you more choices in future. You have a financial security, you have a backup, you have a career option, so that you may not, because you don't go much low in terms of your emotional baggage. Because when you have a financial security, you have some assurance, you can prepare for your dream job anytime in the life, and also of course till your age allows it. So sir, thank you so much for joining with us, for sharing your views, and I know it is going to help the aspirants, and it is going to be a booster for such aspirants who are working, and you'll truly inspire them. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.